You've got all this knowledge, this genius stored up in your head. But let's be real, how do you actually turn that into something you can sell, something that generates real income? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Let's just kick things off with a question that might hit a little close to home. You're good at what you do, right? You're skilled, you're an expert, so why doesn't your bank account seem to know that? It's a super frustrating place to be, but it all boils down to one single problem that, believe me, is totally fixable.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with the core problem, the expert's dilemma. Then we'll figure out what people are actually buying. After that, we dive into the two big game changers, packaging and positioning. And we'll wrap it all up with a simple 3-step action plan you can start using pretty much immediately. Okay, so what is this expert's dilemma? It's this belief that just being smart and talented should be enough to make a great living. But honestly, that's a huge misunderstanding of how the world actually works and what people are willing to pay for. And this quote from the value architect Akbaro Jimmy just nails it. Raw value does not sell. Structured value sells. Your expertise, in its raw form, is pure potential. But it needs a structure, a container, before anyone is going to hand over their money for it. So to build that structure, we gotta know what the market is actually looking to buy. And here's the plot twist. They don't really care about our efforts or our knowledge. They care about their outcomes. See, we think we're selling our skills or our information, but that's not what gets people to open their wallets. They buy what that knowledge does for them. They're paying for a real result, a personal transformation, or a solution to a problem that's been driving them crazy. It just doesn't matter how many years you've studied or how hard you've worked. If your genius isn't directly tied to a result for someone else, it just doesn't have much commercial value. Plain and simple, the market rewards outcomes. And this leads us perfectly into the first part of the solution, something called value packaging. This is the how-to. It's the process of taking all that expertise that's just floating around in your head and turning it into something tangible, something people can actually buy. So what is value packaging, really? Well, it's just structuring your expertise into a clear, organized system that someone can easily understand and use. It's how you make your genius accessible to the world. I love this analogy because it makes it so easy to get. Just imagine for a second that all your knowledge is a raw cocoa bean. Now, it has value, for sure, but in its raw state, most people wouldn't have a clue what to do with it, and they certainly wouldn't pay a premium for it. But that exact same raw ingredient, once you process it and package it, boom, it becomes all these high-value products like chocolate bars and cocoa powder. They're just structured, ready-to-use versions of the original bean. And that is exactly what we have to do with our expertise. Think about it. Your knowledge is invisible. It's stuck in your head. Packaging is what works the magic. Like the quote says, it converts invisible expertise into visible opportunity. It makes it something real that people can see, understand, and most importantly, buy. Let's look at a really practical example. Saying, I teach business is fine. It's vague. But what about the 6-step business monetization blueprint? Now that sounds like a system. It has structure, it promises a clear path, and it just feels way more valuable. Okay, so once you've packaged your value, we hit the next critical step, positioning. If packaging is what you're selling, positioning is all about who you're selling it to and why it's the perfect fit for them. It's about making your message cut through the noise. So positioning is all about perception and specificity. It's how you frame your offer so that your ideal customer sees it and thinks, wow, that's exactly what I've been looking for. And good positioning really just comes down to answering these 3 simple questions. If you can't clearly say who it's for, what problem it solves, and why you're the one to solve it, your message is just going to get lost. And just look at the difference here. I help people succeed on the left. That means almost nothing. But the statement on the right is laser focused. It tells you who, professionals, and the exact outcome they get. That clarity is what makes it so powerful. And this isn't just some marketing fluff, it's a financial truth. The moment people clearly get what you do and who you do it for, their willingness to pay you goes through the roof. It's so true. Income grows where clarity exists. All right, now let's bring it all home. This is where the real magic happens. See, packaging and positioning aren't 2 separate things. They're a team. You absolutely need both structure and clarity to really make an impact. When you combine a well-packaged system with crystal clear positioning, your expertise goes through a massive transformation. It stops being just advice and becomes a genuine, market-ready asset that can actually make you money.
And this brings us right back to the original problem, doesn't it? Experts aren't broke because they lack value. As the quote says, they struggle from a lack of structure and clarity. Your packaging is the structure, and your positioning is the clarity. You fix those two things, you fix the income problem.
Okay, we've gone through the what and the why. Now for the most important part, the how. Let's get practical. Here is your 3-step action plan to put all this to work. It's really just 3 steps. First, you've got to identify. Get super specific about the one big problem you solve. Second, systemize it. Turn your random advice into a repeatable, step-by-step framework. And third, communicate. Every single thing you say should be focused on the clear, tangible outcome your clients are going to get. So, I'll leave you with this one question to really think about. Is your expertise just raw knowledge floating in your head, or is it truly structured for income? Answering that question honestly could change absolutely everything for you. Thanks for tuning in.